K-ration of World War II was named after one of these men. What is your name, please?
My name is Dr. Ancel Keys.
My name is Dr. Ancel Keys.
My name is Dr. Ancel Keys.
Only one of these men is the real Dr. Keys. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Kitty Carlisle, Ralph Bellamy, and sitting in for Polly Bergen, Miss Peggy Cass, on To Tell the Truth, with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Helene Curtis, makers of fine beauty products, creators of Endon, dandruff treatment shampoo, and Tender Touch Dry Skin Bath Oil. Peggy, it's delightful to have you back with us again.
Thank you very much, Bud. It's very nice to be here.
Well, let's get ready to have fun, panel. Will you please open your envelopes, take out your affidavits for the first time tonight, and follow along as I read. I, Dr. Ancel Keys, am a physiologist. My specialty is diet and health. I have written several books on the subject, including the current bestseller, Eat Well and Stay Well. I am presently engaged in a major experiment involving the health and eating habits of some 10,000 individuals scattered throughout the world. We are collecting data on all types, from African tribesmen to American businessmen. I have already had considerable effect on the diet of millions of Americans. I am the man who invented the K-rations of World War II. The K stands for Keys. Signed, Dr. Ancel Keys. All right, you gathered to start the proceedings off tonight, panel. We have these three gentlemen all claiming to be Dr. Ancel Keys, Diet and Health Authority Extraordinary. We'll begin this first round with lovely Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Thank you, Bud. Dr. Keys, number one, there are many things before K-rations that were used as a concentrate of food. What is pemmican?
There are very many kinds of pemmican. Pemmican is basically a dehydrated meat together with fats and sometimes parched grains used by American Indians and all the way up to the Arctic.
Number two, what is bully beef?
Bully beef is tinned beef used in World War I. The British, I think, originated that bully beef.
Number three, what are lipids?
Lipids are proteins.
Huh?
Lipids are proteins.
Protein. Number one, what are lipids?
Lipids are fats and things that are dissolved in fat solvents.
Number two, in your K-rations, did you have an absolutely well-proportioned diet, well-balanced diet?
We thought so, yes.
Sounds like there might have been some disagreement on that. Boy, Ralph, please.
Number one, another doctor has written a book called Eat and Stay Thin. Who wrote that book? Do you know?
I believe it's a man by the name of McCarness.
Number two, would you agree?
Yes, I think so.
Number three, would you?
No, I wouldn't.
Who would you say wrote it?
I don't believe he was a doctor. I think he was a physiologist. He was not an MD.
Number one, how many calories are required for the average person to subsist for 24 hours?
Oh, we don't need any for 24 hours.
You don't?
That's what you find out when you diet.
Number two, how many calories in a pack of K-rations?
About 1,800.
And number three,
Peggy?
Number one, what flavors did K-ration come in?
I'm afraid that was before the Metrocal days. There was the flavors of the foods themselves.
And was there only one way that you made K-ration, that was it?
No, there were many different versions, actually,
Like there
before
was
the war was on.
number two, were these versions numbered or lettered?
Oh, there was always the K on them, but there was no number. You could take whatever you picked up as the quartermaster's man.
I see. Number three, who is Adele Davis?
I wouldn't know.
Number one, please. Who is Adele
I
Davis?
think I've heard of her, but I'm not sure.
Number two,
I'd have
do
to
you know
make
who?
the same statement, I'm afraid.
She's got a best-selling book on how to eat.
Tom Poston.
Thank you. Number one, can you tell me what the chemical component was that kept the chocolate bars so hard?
I think you're talking about the D-ration. The chocolate bar of that sort was not in the K-ration.
What was the so-called dessert in the K-ration? What was that? What
candies and dried fruits.
Now, let me ask you number one. What makes the common native beer in Africa? What do they use to make that native beer?
Barley.
Number two, do you agree with that?
No, I don't. I don't know what it is.
You don't know what, but you don't agree.
Sounds like you tasted it, and it's awful.
I'm afraid that's it, panel. For your first voting experience tonight, that's all the time we have for questions. So will you please mark your ballots without consultation and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Challenges, of course, will receive the usual $250 for every incorrect vote. Everybody ready? All right, Tom, for whom did you vote in this first round tonight?
I didn't really vote yet, but gosh, it's so hard. Well, I'll say 2, just because. Leave me alone.
Kitty.
Well, I voted for number 1. Number 3 said that lipids were proteins, and I know they have something to do with fat. So number 1 said there's something about fat dissolved. I don't believe that's exactly right, and I didn't ask number 2. So I voted for number 1.
All right. Ralph, your vote.
Number 3.
That's not it.
I think number 1 gave the best and most extensive and maybe the most intelligent answers, but this is purely on the basis of the way number 3 said his name as he stood up there. He was the only one who said Ancel. The others said Ancel. So I don't know. This is
all right. Peggy, your vote.
Well, I voted for number 1 because in bath oil it dissolves in the water. It says lipoids on the label, and he knew that.
Wow, there you are. All right, we've wrapped up this first round, we think, and whether we're right or wrong in our voting, we will find out, as will you if you're playing along at home with us, which we trust you are, as we discover which one of these 3 gentlemen is the real Diet and Health Authority. So will the real Dr. Ancel Keys please stand up? Thank you, sir. The 2 ladies got you. You have a peculiar charm. I guess you'd call it bedside manner in Diet and Health. But thank you very much, sir, for being with us tonight. Number 2, would you tell us your real name and what you really do, sir?
My name is James Michael Killeen, and I am in the sales department of the Eilert Printing Company of New York City.
Thank you, sir. Number 3, your real name and what you do.
My name is Albert H. Bogutz, and I'm the Executive Vice President of the Newton Elkin Shoe Company.
Well, our thanks to you, gentlemen. We only hope you had as much fun as we had. You brought a lot of pleasure to our show tonight, and in checking up on the score, we find that there were 2 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $500 from Helene Curtis, and, of course, a gift package of fine beauty products by Helene Curtis for your ladies. Thank you so very much for being with us. Good night. God bless you. All right, panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Rosemary Fenton. My name is Rosemary Fenton. My name is Rosemary Fenton.
All right, you've had a good look, panel. Now suppose we concentrate on your copies of the affidavit as I read from mine. I, Rosemary Fenton, was born and raised on Lord Howe Island. Lying 420 miles off the Australian coast, Lord Howe Island is 7 miles long and 1.5 miles wide. It boasts 6 automobiles, 3 motor scooters, 2 horses, and 180 people. My daily chores on our family farm included milking the cows, baking bread, and feeding the chickens. 2 years ago, I went to the mainland to work. I entered a beauty contest and won first prize, a trip around the world. I am the current Miss Australia. Signed, Rosemary Fenton. Panel, you heard these 3 pretty ladies, each one claiming to be Miss Australia, otherwise known as Rosemary Fenton. And we start this cross-examination with Peggy Cass.
Number 2, where in Australia are you from? Oh, Lord Howe. What is Lord Howe Island named after?
It's named after an English admiral.
Thank you. And what is the capital of Tasmania, please, number 2?
I have never been to Tasmanian geography. Was never my strong point.
I see. Number 3, in what part of Australia is Brisbane located?
I'm not familiar with that either.
Number 1, where's Port Moresby?
New Guinea.
Number 3, on which ocean is Perth situated?
I don't know.
Number 1, would you please tell me on which ocean Perth is situated? You don't know?
Tom.
On the ocean of Amboy. I knew that.
Local joke.
Number one, do you know any of the rhyming speech from Australia?
Rhyming speech?
Yes, what would a bottle and stopper be?
A bottle and stopper. I haven't heard that expression.
Or a lady from Bristol, might you know that?
No,
Do you know
sir.
number 2, either of those?
No,
Number 3?
I don't know. No, I don't.
Number 3, could you tell me, as a farm girl, what is butter made of or made from?
Cream.
What
Sweet
kind?
cream.
Is it always sweet cream, number 1?
No, sour cream.
Thank you. Number 1. Number 1. What side of a cow do you milk from? Don't say the outside.
Well, I personally milk from the right-hand side.
Number 2, do you always milk from the right?
No, I milk from the cow's left.
Kitty, what side do you milk cows from?
I didn't know you had a choice. I thought it was like getting on a horse. You always have to get on the same way. Number 1, who is Mr. Menzies, or Mingus, or however you call him?
Mr. Menzies is the Prime Minister of Australia.
Number 2, where is Melbourne?
New South Wales.
As if you didn't know.
Number 3, this little island is very teeny-weeny. Where did your implements come from?
We get it from Australia, mainly from, we get it an order about every 3 months.
How far away is the mainland? Does it say here?
125 miles.
125 miles away?
From Australia.
400. I'm sorry. I see. And how does it come?
By ship.
By ship. Number 1, is there a...
Ralph?
Number 2, there is a theoretic island in archaeological parlance that extended from Hawaii on the north to Easter on the southeast to Fiji on the southwest. Do you know the name of it?
No, I
Do
don't.
you, number 3?
No, I don't.
Number 1?
No, I don't.
Well,
Do
it's
you?
the island of Mew. It corresponds to Atlantis in the Atlantic. Number 1, what ship lines put into Lord Howe Island?
Burns Philp.
What line?
Burns Philp shipping line.
Uh-huh. Number 2, what tribe of native?
Right, that's it. And we'll have to let our own tribes increase or decrease accordingly as we come to the moment of casting our ballots. So will you please do so again without consultation and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Everybody set and all voted? Okay, Tom, for whom this time?
I voted for number 2. They're all extremely attractive, and I think any one of them could be Miss Australia. But I voted for 2 the last time, and I was wrong. And I'm inclined to be a little stubborn about these things. So see what happens this time.
Kitty, your vote, please.
I voted for number 2. I thought on the basis of the way she said her name that she was the only one that might have a really Australian accent. I may be wrong. Probably am. And she looks like the only one who'd been kneading bread and milking cows, maybe, and she looks healthy. As well as pretty.
Ralph.
Number 1, principally on the basis of, seems to have a little more knowledge and a little quicker answers.
And Peggy, which one do
I
you think is
voted
real?
for number 1 because she knew where Port Moresby is, and also because I thought she had a real Australian accent.
Well, I couldn't vouch for it one way or the other, but maybe you can as you're voting at home with us. We'll discover right now whether we're right or wrong in our own particular moment of truth, and we'll learn which one of these pretty ladies is the real, current Miss Australia. So will the real Rosemary Fenton please stand up? Thank you very much. Well, this time it was Ralph and Peggy that combined on this one. And we find out about these other pretty misses, too. Number 2, you got 2 votes. What is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Virginia Eldred, and I am a stewardess with Pan American World Airways, and I have never been to Australia in my life.
Never. Have you ever milked a cow?
Yes.
Oh, you have. Good enough. Number 3, from the left. Your real name, number 3, and what you do?
My name is Peggy Freeman, and I'm an American. I work for Janssen Incorporated. I'm the swimsuit model, and I live in New York City, and I've never been out of the United States.
Didn't you work in a bit of an accent along with these other 2? That was very good fooling. It sounded quite legitimate. Yes, Tom?
I just have a suggestion for Miss Fenton. Don't milk any cows while you're in this country because they'll kick the living heck out of you if you try to milk them from the right.
All right, well, let's check up on our score now. We find out that there were 2 incorrect votes as there were in the first round at $250 each for another total of $500 from Helene Curtis. Not bad for an evening's pleasure. We trust that's what it's been for you. You also, of course, will pick up on your way out a gift package of fine beauty products from Helene Curtis, and we thank you for being with us. Good night. God bless you. Panel, let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Don January. My name is Don January.
My name is Don January.
There you have it, panel. Will you follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Don January, am a professional golfer. I tour the golf circuit and compete in championship tournaments throughout the country. In 1960, I was named Most Improved Golfer of the Year. This must have been a prophecy of things to come because last month, while playing in the Palm Springs Classic, I shot the first hole-in-one of my career. And that single shot won me a prize of $50,000. Signed, Don January. Three stalwart young gentlemen this time, panel, each one claiming to be Don January, professional golfer, and we'll start this questioning with Ralph Bellamy. Ralph?
Number 1, what golf club does Ben Hogan make his headquarters?
He's in Fort Worth.
What's the name of the club, do you know?
Shady Oaks Country Club.
Number 2, where is Waikiki?
Waikiki is in New York, Long Island.
Number 3, there was a pro tournament on the air, and I've forgotten what it was called just recently. Who won it?
Well, the most recent...
Just recently.
The most recent one was played in Palm Springs on television.
Well, there was one before that.
The Bing Crosby.
In California.
The Bing Crosby.
Was that it? Who won it?
That's
this is
right.
pure information. I didn't see
Bob Golby.
Number 1, what course in Palm Springs did you play?
We played 5 courses in Palm Springs.
5 courses.
Peggy?
Number 2, where was golf invented?
Well, it's usually said in St. Andrews, Scotland.
And number 3, what is the name of the golf club in St. Andrews, Scotland?
St. Andrews Golf Club.
Boy, I knew that. Well, number 1, where is Burning Bush?
I don't know.
Number 2, do you know where the Burning Bush Country Club is?
Burning Bush, I think it's Burning Tree in Washington, D.C.
I'm getting biblical. Number 3, where is Indio?
Indio?
Yes.
I don't know.
Number 1, do you know?
California.
Yes. Number 2, do you know where Indio is?
Indio is in California, right near Palm Springs.
Tom?
Oh, thank you. If you played... Well, whether you did or not, what was the big hazard on the Phoenix course on the tournament this year, number 3?
Camelback Mountain.
Seems like a large hazard.
That's quite a hazard.
Sounds like Guido Panzini. Who's Guido Panzini, number 3?
Well, he's an entertainer and golfer at Wingfoot with about a 2 handicap.
What's his name, number 2?
I don't know.
You know number 1?
No idea.
You know number 3?
Pat Harrington, Jr.
Yeah. Tell me, what was the advantage at the Phoenix course, number 3?
The light air.
Number one, is there another disadvantage you can think of besides Camelback Mountain?
The greens were bad.
What about the fairways, number one?
They're burned out.
Kitty.
Number 3, did it rain at all during your stay in Palm Springs?
During our stay, it did, yes.
Number 1, did it rain at all while you were on the golf course?
Not while I was on the golf course.
Number 2, did it rain while you were on the golf course?
No, it did not.
Did it rain while you were in Palm Springs, number 1?
No.
Number 2, what were the names of the golf clubs that you played at in Palm Springs?
Well, we played Tamarisk and El Dorado and Indian Wells and
Number 3,
Thunderbird.
Can you add to those?
The Dunes.
The Dunes?
The Dunes. And
Which
El
was-
Dorado was, I think, one.
Which was the farthest from the center of town, number 1? Which of these golf clubs?
Dunes.
The Dunes?
Yes.
Number 2, when you go to India, what city do you pass on the way from Palm Springs?
Well, I'm not certain. I think it's Cathedral City.
And that's it, certain or not. I'm certain that we've come to the time of voting again.
Boy.
So, will you please mark your ballots, panel, without consultation, and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Everybody set? All voted? Tom, you ready? Which one do you think is the real one this time?
If that looks like a 2 to any of you out there, I just changed my mind. It's number 1. I think it's number 1. I really don't know. They were awfully good. Really wonderful liars.
Posers, we prefer to say.
Oh,
Kitty.
posers, yes.
I voted for number 3. They were all absolutely marvelous, but I happened to have been in Palm Springs during that tournament. And it did rain very hard one day, so I voted for number 3.
Ralph.
Number 2. He seemed to have information on everything, and even including Cathedral City, and he's got a little bit of a recent sunburn there, too. So
That's to fool you. That's what they do on
maybe
this
it's a
show.
lamp. But,
Peggy, what is your selection?
Well, I voted for number 1 because he talks so professionally about burned-out fairways, and also he looks like a golfer to me.
Okay, there we have it again now. Check up on yourselves as we check up on ourselves. Truth, of course, is of the essence tonight, so let's see whether we've hit at it by our voting as we discover which one of these 3 gentlemen is the real professional golfer. So, will the real Don January please stand up? Congratulations to you, sir, and thank you. Peggy, our visiting fireman here, scored a clean sweep tonight. All 3, yes, sir.
Fraud! It rained!
I don't remember. Of course, after the second or the third day, I was in a state of shock to start with.
I should think you would be winning $50,000 like that. Well, let's find out about the other 2 gentlemen. Number 2, would you tell us your real name? You had some good answers there. What do you really do?
Bud, my name is Jack Murray, and I'm sales manager for Atlantic Products in Trenton, New Jersey, the manufacturers of casual luggage.
where did he get the sunburn? Is that a lamp?
No, sir.
Walking around with the luggage, I guess. Number 3, your real name and what you really do, sir.
My name is Don Scanlon. I work with the New York Stock Exchange firm of Fonstock & Company. I'm a stockbroker.
Hey, Bud?
Don, I'd like to ask one question. What is your home club?
I'm at Buckingham Country Club in Dallas, Texas.
Buckingham in Dallas. You want to ask something?
That was what I wanted to know.
Oh. Okay, well, there we have it. Let's find out so we can know how much money is leaving us here tonight. There were 2 again. The same consistent score all evening. 2 incorrect at $250 each for a total of $500 from Helene Curtis. And again, a gift package of fine beauty products for your ladies. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Good luck in the tournament. Good night. Sorry to say it, but that's it, panel. Good night to you.
Good night, Bud.
Bud Collier saying good night from Helene Curtis and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. To Tell the Truth has been brought to you tonight by Helene Curtis, makers of End and Dandruff Treatment Shampoo and Tender Touch Dry Skin Bath Oil. Johnny Olson saying good night from To Tell the Truth. The program was pre-recorded.